Welcome, Benzinga Nation. One thing that we love to do is talk to executives from publicly traded companies. And today we've got Dr. Anne-Marie Sastry, who's a founder and CEO of Amesite. Ticker on the NASDAQ is AMST. Dr. Sastry, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's go ahead and talk about a brief overview of what is it that your company does, and more importantly, its vision.
Thank you. Amesite is an artificial intelligence software company. We build platforms and apps that help people learn, from colleges and universities to now consumers.
I know every time I talk to you, I just wish that I had this when I was in college. I would have probably gotten straight A's, but more about that later on. You've got some competitors in this space. So how do you go ahead and set yourself apart from them? What gives you the edge?
AI gives us the edge, and also being very student-centric. I mean, we have over 98% retention across our paid learning programs, and there's a reason for that. We like people to have the tools they need to succeed. Our community college partners, our university partners do the same, and especially in professional learning, which is lifelong. So rather than thinking about your maybe checkered college career, you have to think about the rest of your life afterward, which is where really the money is and where really the place that you build financial security. We like to make sure that all of our college and university partners have access to not only the best content, but also have the tools to help people learn and be successful. The world is changing very fast, and continuing education is a reality for the entire country.
And there's so many different ways to be successful, right? You have specific sectors in education which Amesite is targeting, and I'm curious as to why. I'm talking about community colleges, healthcare, new apps, and so on and so forth.
There are a lot of needs, and society needs people to stay upskilled. The reality is very little of what you do day to day is something that you learned in school. In school, you learn how to think mostly, but then the rest of your career, you need to be upskilled. You asked about our competitors, what they do. Well, you have the LMSs, everybody's familiar with those, the learning management systems. Those are really content storage devices, and those are meant to store content so that you can access it. COVID exposed the weaknesses of those. The user experience wasn't great, and there was a lot of loss of learning as a result. Then you have aggregators who offer courses on everything, and people have to go and kind of pick out what they need. And that can be really hard for consumers, because if you're in a career and you go, okay, I need to know about AI, who's going to curate that for you? Who's going to help you? The reality is colleges and universities are in a really good position to do that, and also to be highly localized, which is why Amesite works with them to set up systems that are branded to them, to enable them to lead in their regions. That's really the way that you get to 360 million people.
You've done a great job with that so far. So let's talk about the future in terms of what does Amesite foresee will be the next evolution of AI in this space, especially if you're planning on reducing your spending by 50% while also continuing the sales momentum that you've been on.
We have reduced our spending 50%, and technology is a big reason for that. We made substantial investments in AI before AI was cool in education, that's for sure. We were the only people talking about AI when we founded Amesite back in 2018. And now it's on everyone's lips, but people need access. So the question is, how do you get access to people? Our first outing was in the form of platforms, and people who are following us know this. For the rest of you, we build platforms for universities and colleges that are branded to them so that they can serve their regions. Recently, we announced that we're also getting into the app game because we want to get AI into consumers' hands faster. It's very important that professionals are able to access learning and tools powered by AI so they can be better at their jobs. We tell people, don't worry about getting crushed by a wave, surf it. Surf the AI wave. Make sure that you have access to those tools so that you can be competitive. And that's something we're extremely excited about.
I love that analogy. There's also like this graph out there about equity and equality. And it's like now the software is available, but more importantly, how do you get it to people? And I think you answered that there. Let's talk about key targets and goals that you have for 2024. What does that look like?
We're building our book. Since announcing a no-fee setup for colleges and university, we've already announced, I think it's 5 wins with 5-year deals with colleges that offer learning in their regions. Very exciting. Collectively, they represent a lot of potential professional users. So we're very excited about them signing on more customers and scaling, and the sales team is doing a fantastic job in making sure those customers are not only signing on with us for long-term contracts, but also getting set up quickly and rapidly getting provisioned with courses that change their region. An example, implicit bias is something we're offering nationwide now. It's a work requirement requirement for many people across the country, millions and millions of people. And now colleges and universities can deliver that right out of the Amesite catalog. Another example, active shooter preparedness. We've all read about the tragedies, and we know how worried people are and how important it is to have campus and business security. Colleges and universities can now offer that training right on their platforms so that their regions can become more knowledgeable and safer. Additionally, we've announced that we have been certified. We are a joint provider of healthcare education. Our partner, PACE, has enabled us to offer healthcare learning that achieves credentialing. So, for example, nurses have to relicense between every 2 and 5 years and require dozens of hours of training in that period. Amesite is now able to offer that. So that's very exciting. That's a built-in market for us. For example, there are 5.2 million registered nurses alone in the US that have to take this training. So we're very excited about getting AI tools in the hands of people who need it.
Yeah, I feel like in today's world, having the implicit bias course, which I'm familiar with, so that's exciting to hear, and also the active shooter course, not to mention the ease of colleges to get into the program. Love hearing those. Something I've learned here working at Benzinga throughout my life is that you need a strong team to make sure that everything kind of comes together in terms of a puzzle. So tell me about your team's background that enables you to go into these apps, and why do you think it's an opportunity for Amesite?
Our team is amazing. The company has won 17 Workplace Excellence Awards, 4 of them national. Our coders, full stack coders who use AI every day. We were early adopters of the technology that speeds coding, can sometimes increase the speed of being able to code by 10x. So our coders are able to have gone from a very strong infrastructure. We are a Microsoft partner, and we're live on the Azure cloud with all of the attendant security and privacy mechanisms that affords. But now we're able to code very fast solutions, sector by sector. So I'm very, very proud of the engineering team. The sales team has sold into one of the most challenging markets there is, academia. When academia was going through a very, very rough time in COVID, we survived, and now we're thriving with new contracts all over the country. Our sales team is now prepared, understanding EdTech across the country. And I would say our sales team is one of the most knowledgeable in the country in terms of what people need, what professionals need, what colleges need, what universities need, and now what consumers need. So it's been, we believe, a very facile transition from going from these larger infrastructures to being more agile. Very exciting for us.
Yeah, but it's no secret that school budgets aren't exactly exuberant. So I'm happy to hear their sales team has been able to execute on that. And something that I noticed while doing research for this interview was that you've announced 5-year partnerships, right? Instead of like the shorter term ones. Why the change? And give me a little bit of insight as to that.
A lot's been written about how colleges and universities have budget crunches. That's well known. Additionally, interest in going to college has declined almost 50% since 2015. So people look at colleges and universities and say, how are you going to be sustainable? Amesite is an answer to that. There's another pressure happening with colleges and universities, and that is during the Great Recession, about 2008, we are seeing the result of that baby bust. So we're seeing fewer enrollments in colleges. All of this points to pressures on colleges and universities to deliver better continuing education and professional development. Why? It generates sustainable revenue. It's another revenue stream that allows these colleges and universities to stay financially sound. Amesite comes in with our system, and they can use it to offer dozens of courses that are relevant to their regions and satisfy the demands of their political environments as state government increasingly pressures colleges and universities to offer relevant materials and to show that students are benefiting.
Yeah, you are never too old to learn something new in life. Last one for me before I let you go. We talked about the 5-year partnerships. Let's talk about the 5 new contracts that you announced with various colleges just over the past couple of weeks. What is your opinion on not just that partnership, but more so the momentum that, once again, this carries you over?
How do you pick your favorite painting? I mean, every one of these schools is different and has a regional need, from West Virginia to South Carolina to Tennessee. Each of them has a regional need. Each of them has partners already. So each of these schools and colleges already has relationships with the local school district, with City Hall, with major hospital systems, and they know what those needs are. We bring in a system that allows them to serve their communities and meet their mission. Additionally, state by state, you're seeing a change in the country. There's been a lot of skepticism about whether a college degree is actually quote unquote worth it. You've heard that. Everybody's heard that. Actually, interest in going to college has declined over 50% since 2015. By working directly with colleges and universities and generating sustainable revenue, we can actually give the people what they want. Legislatures and assemblies around the country are actually mandating that. So if you look at Texas HB 8, we've achieved TAPES ramp status, so we're good to go in Texas, and we just announced that a few weeks ago, are requiring that colleges and universities show that they're offering programs that actually upskill people so that they can be competitive in the economy. We believe that Amesite is perfectly positioned from those pressures to be able to serve that need as government around the country becomes more aware of the need to push colleges and universities to offer relevant materials and offer materials that actually work. With our 98% retention, we are a very strong argument for colleges and universities to use the Amesite system, generate impact, and meet the needs that are required from their legislatures and assemblies.
Yeah, I think having the government support can offer quite a bit of tailwind into what you're looking to do. So I'm happy to hear that. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That is Dr. Anne Marie Sastry, founder and CEO of Amesite. Ticker on the NASDAQ is AMST.